This is the ultimate Ultrawide Payday 3 performance video. I have more GPUs and more Ultrawide resolutions than any other reviewer out there. And after spending hours doing well over 100 test runs on this game, I have those delicious benchmarks you're looking for. But first, let's talk about how I got to these results. Since there's no built-in benchmark, I used the combat tutorial because it has the least informational interrupts once started, and ran through the same 1-minute path using only the pistol. I did this 3 times per card, per resolution, per settings change. The average variance between runs was 1.1%. The settings I use for each run are borderless, current test resolution, frame rate unlimited, VSync off, anti-aliasing on quality, upscaling native, and ultra for all other settings. I am using the Game Pass version of the game, which is limited to the DX11 API, which is also the default API for the Steam version, since this is what the developer thinks will run best on most systems. If you can test out the DX12 version, you may want to try it to see if you can gain any performance there. All this was tested on my test bench running an R7 5800X3D with 32GB of 3200Hz CL14 memory, all running off a Samsung 990 Pro NVMe SSD running Windows 11 and the latest NVIDIA and AMD drivers. So let's get into those benchmarks and see how well Payday 3 performs. Starting off with the most common ultra-wide resolution of 3440 by 1440, we see the RTX 4090 crushing the frame rates with a 215 FPS average, a staggering 39% faster than even the RTX 4080, which is getting a very fast 155 FPS, which is soundly outperforming the RX 7900 XTX, which is getting 128 FPS, putting the XTX only 11% ahead of the 4070 Ti at 116 FPS, with the 700 XTI right on its tail with 111 FPS. The RTX 4070 is coming in right where expected, at 91 FPS. The RTX 2080 manages to squeak out 60 FPS, making an RTX 2080 to RTX 4080 upgrade 159% faster, or an $800 to $800 upgrade 93% faster. Looking at the 1% lows, we see a pretty decent performance from all cards except for the 700 XTX, which is only matching the Ti and XT, and the RTX 2080, which are both getting subpar but not terrible 1% low deviation. All but one of our GPUs can provide a very playable experience with 1% lows that stay above 60, but even that old RTX 2080 is playable, it's just not optimal. Moving up to the sadly ignored 3840 by 600p ultra-wide resolution, where we see most of the cards still putting down respectable numbers, with the RTX 4090 leading the pack with 177 FPS, putting even more room between it and the 4080, making it now 42% faster. The RTX 4080 is getting 125 FPS, and is 17% faster than its sparring partner, the RX 7900 XTX, at 107 FPS. The RTX 4070 Ti and the 700 XT are essentially tied at 94 and 93 FPS, making both 25% faster than the 4070 at 74 FPS. The RTX 2080 is below 60, with a 49 FPS average, making the 4080 a 156% performance upgrade, or the 4070 or 700 XT a 92% performance upgrade. Looking at the 1% lows, everything is looking pretty good, with the 700 XTX now in line with the other cards. The 2080 is slower than average, but the 700 XT is distinguishing itself with a very tight 1% low deviation. If we want to get that 2080 up back over 60 FPS, turning on DLSS quality sees it jump way up to 85 FPS. All of our modern cards are providing a very fine play experience, and even the RTX 2080 can hang when using upscaling. Next up is our super ultrawide 5120 by 1440p resolution. Here the 4090 is still way out ahead with 153 FPS, followed by the RTX 4080 with 107 FPS, still 17% faster than the 700 XTX at 91 FPS, which is also 14% faster than the 4070 Ti and the 700 XT at 80 and 78 FPS. They are 25% faster than the RTX 4070 at 63 FPS, and the RTX 2080 is getting 42 FPS. An upgrade will net you 154% more performance at the same tier, or 91% at the same price. Checking the 1% lows, we see the upper stack rocking a pretty average 1% lows. Sadly, the 4070 has joined the 2080 in underperforming, and the 700 XT continues to excel with much stronger 1% lows than the 4070 Ti. If we wanted to get the 2080 back above 60, applying a little quality upscaling still does the trick. And finally, at the monster ultrawide resolution of 5120 by 2160p, we see the RTX 4090 no longer quite so fast at 100 FPS, nearly 50% faster than the RTX 4080 at 67 FPS, which now only beats the 7900 XTX by 6%. 21% behind the XTX is the 4070 Ti and the 7900 XT. They are still tied with a 52 and 51 FPS average, though they are now in acceptable range below 60 FPS. The 4070 is really struggling at 39 FPS, and the RTX 2080 is unplayable at just 28 FPS. An upgrade from the 2080 will net you 144% more performance or 89% performance, whether you're going for matching version or price. Looking at the 1% lows, we see the Nvidia cards starting to slide into subpar performance at this resolution, while the AMD cards are getting some pretty great 1% lows that best their Nvidia counterparts by a fair bit. The Nvidia 1% lows are not a deal breaker by any means, but the AMD cards will feel smoother at this resolution, and it appears we have many more cards than the RTX 2080 that need help getting over 60. Luckily, quality upscaling does the trick for the three cards of this generation, getting the Ti and XT into high refresh rates and the 4070 to smooth refresh rates, but it's not quite enough to save the RTX 2080. Payday 3 seems to be a fairly well optimized day one game. We get some pretty high refresh rates without suffering any real 1% low issues, aside from the 7900 XT underperforming a bit at 3440 by 1440p, but even that was nothing really to talk about, and corrected itself at higher resolutions. One performance issue I do need to bring up is the first time I did a test pass with each card, the game stuttered as it built shaders. But every pass after that, there was no stuttering, even if the PC was restarted. I'm not sure how this will play out in the long-term gameplay. If it means that it's the first time you play a map there will be stutter, but subsequent times you will have nothing to worry about, it's just something to be aware of. One other graphical glitch I ran into was putting on the mask while walking would make textures super bright. It seems like looking at the floor fixed it every time, and it didn't seem to affect anything except for the looks of the game. With all that said, you should have no problem jumping into this game with any of the modern cards we tested and have a great time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy Ultrawide content like this, please like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my other reviews. If you want to see the other games I benchmark, you can check out this video here. Or if you want to check out a deep dive into any of these cards, you can check out here. If you want to show this channel some love, you can use my affiliate link in the description below to buy one of these GPUs or anything else on your shopping list. Or you can sign up to my Patreon, or hit me up with a super. Thank you for watching. I'm Scott, and I'll see you next time, Ultrawide fans.